Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make 6 small kind of treat cards. Maybe you can give them out for trick-or-treating or something, I don't know. I'm going to use 2 stamp sets doing this. I'm going to use the Boo Crew stamp set and the Halloween People, both are by Simon Says Stamp. As I said, I'm going to make small cards. They are going to measure 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and I have a bunch of bases that I made from Nina. And then I'm going to have like a layer section. This makes stamping and stuff much easier, and also I love that little stitched detail to kind of build a little bit dimension, even though these are pretty much 1 layer cards, almost all of them. So I'm going to start off with one of those stitched rectangles. I'm using the Grape Jelly cardstock by My Favorite Things, and I cut it out with the square stitched dies, stacks dies, that's the word. I'm going to stamp this cute little mummy in some grape jelly ink. So this is the coordinating ink from My Favorite Things, so they match perfectly. You get a pretty deep, beautiful print from that. And then I'm gonna just add a sentiment, and the sentiment is pretty simple. I'm gonna heat emboss that sentiment, so I'm gonna put it up. It's Happy Halloween, and that was from the Halloween People, so I'm mixing and matching the stamps in between the 2 different stamp sets. And here's a little tip: if you have little like sentiment stamps that just don't want kind of stuck to your fingers when you're trying to line them up, use like the pointed part of your scissors or anything metal, because they will not stick to the metal as easy. I'm stamping this down in some Versamark ink. Then I'm going to use some Hero Arts fine white embossing powder, because that is the best white embossing powder, and I had this pot for years, so you can come a long way with just a little. And then I'm just going to heat set that. To finish this card off, I am going in with the Caran Dash, something like that it's called, white luminous color pencil. It is actually a Switch brand, Swatch brand. I didn't know that. You can go just as well with a ordinary Prismacolor pencil. However, I do feel like this has a little bit more white to it. I kind of like that, so that is why I'm using that to just go around the whole image, and then I just kind of blend carefully so that it isn't as stark. Just super simple card, very quick, very easy. And to finish it off, I'm just using my little tape runner here to attach that base to my card base. So yeah, card number 1 is done. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing all of these cute little cards. Pretty simple, pretty quick. My second card is Trick or Treat. It's also very quick and very simple, but a little bit more detailed. Starting off with one of these little ghosties, also from the Halloween People stamp set. I'm going to stamp it in Versamark, just adding it somewhat randomly, trying to make sure to just turn the stamp around when I stamp, just so that they are in different directions, and also make sure that I have a couple of ghosties that are overlapping. And then I use this holographic embossing powder by Ranger. I'm gonna see if I can find something similar, or this one. I had a hard time last time I used it, which was about a year ago, but I really love using it, so I'm not gonna stop using it when it's in my stash. It makes it kind of like this holographic glitter of them, and they're just a little bit darker. For the Trick or Treat, I'm actually gonna stamp it in some of that grape jelly ink, and it isn't the grape jelly ink that have colored the Trick and Treat. I tried using some archival ink on it. I did a couple of cards before I got to this, and that really tinted my stamp. However, it doesn't come off when I stamp, so I don't have to worry about that. It just ended up being pretty dark. But I double stamped this to get a really good impression. Again, I used the Grape Jelly dye ink, and then I'm using my scissors and carefully just fussy cutting out this image. By the way, I'm cutting much slower than I am doing here in real time. It's about double the speed here. So yeah, I'm cutting really slow when I do this. You don't want to be stressed when you make cards and fussy cutting, but I really enjoy it. It's my kind of therapy. And after I have fussy cut out that little sentiment, which is pretty easy to do, I'm just gonna layer these. So first I take my heat embossed layer and add it. I always do it upside down. Somehow that is much easier to just line up. I learned it from one of those really good crafters out there. Sadly, I don't remember. I think her name is Ellen. Not sure, but I think it is. Then I just scented the Trick or Treat, and that is my second card. So for my third card, I'm gonna make it super simple, as you can see. I am going to start off with another of those 3x3 inch squares. I just die cut a whole bunch of those, not counting how many I was supposed to have. I just cut them down and then I die cut a bunch of them so that I had some to play with. And then I'm gonna stamp the spooky in my Tuxedo black ink, and I'm double stamping this also because I felt I wanted to have a little bit more black to it. Using my shirt to just glide over, it gives it a little bit better of an impression. And then I'm coloring it with my Copics, just using some purples, going from light to dark, just a little bit of gradient, and that's super simple, quick coloring and done. This is also why I like to use a layer, because the Nina 80 pound does bleed through quite extensively, so by having a layer you don't have that spooky on the inside of your card. Also, if you do something like stamp wrongly, you're not destroying a whole card base, because I always stamp wrongly. My third card was kind of inspired by my spooky card. I saw this Halloween stamp, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna do it almost the same as I did with the spooky card. So I'm again stamping it in some Tuxedo black ink onto one of those little 3x3 squares with a stitched detail around, and then I'm just gonna color it with my Copics. I'm using an orange YR16, Y17 as my yellow, and then I go in and do a gradient purple. This time I don't go through all the markers. I was thinking, should I do like, can I do 8 markers of a gradient, or should I just go back and forth? And I decided I'd go back and forth. So I started with the dark one and went through 4 markers, and I'm going through the same 4 markers back. And like, you don't need that many markers for this. And you can also color it with watercolor or like watercolor pencils or anything. Just that coloring with my Copics and made it just so much easier. And that's that card. You could add a lot of details, but the idea behind this card was to make them very quick and very easy, because this is going up like the day before Halloween, I think. Or when are you celebrating Halloween? Is it today you're celebrating? I don't know. Happy Halloween anyhow. For my 5th card, yeah, I think we're at 5th now, I'm going to use the same Halloween stamp, and I'm going to make it just slightly different. This is, I think, about the same speed as the previous one. However, instead of using my Copics, I just stamped it in some of that grape yellow ink again, and just adding that white outline, just as I did with the mummy. Just the white outline with the Caran Luminance in the color of white. This is actually, I have 2 of those Caran, otherwise I usually use Faber-Castell, but Faber-Castell's white the Polychromos white is not a good white. It doesn't give you that much tint, so that's why I also have a luminance, because it gives that white, gives it just a little bit better white. Just layer that up and that card is done. Very quick, very simple. And for my last card, we're finally at the end. It's my Boo Crew card. This is my favorite card. This was the last card I did. Like, I feel that every time I do things like this, I just get a better card, a better card, a better card every time. And I actually had 3 or 4 cards that I'm not showing that just didn't turn out right. I wanted to use my glow in the dark with these threads. It just didn't show up the way I wanted. So I decided, let's try just go in with the tone on tone ink again, and that actually really looks really great. Then I stamped the Boo Crew on some Nina again, this time not coloring the Boo Crew, just coloring that little lollipop, cutting it out with my fussy cutter scissors, and then just layering that on top of the card, taping down the background and adding 3M foam tape at the behind of the Boo Crew. And that was the finished and last card. I hope you liked these 3 cards. I had a lot of fun doing it. I want to say thank you for watching. I want to say happy Halloween if you are celebrating that, and hopefully you will see some fall birthday cards and maybe even some Christmas cards coming up. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!